Time for Expert Picks presented by PXG. Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period. We've made it to the final major of the season, the Open Championship from Royal Liverpool this week. Could be the perfect spot for Rory McIlroy as he searches for career major number 5. If the images here look a little old, it's because it's from 2014. The last time the Open Championship was held at Royal Liverpool, McIlroy picked up his 3rd major. He enters play coming off a win at the Scottish Open last week, so his confidence probably sky high. Star-studded groups for tee times on Thursday. McIlroy is with Jon Rahm and Justin Rose. They'll get started at 9:59 in the morning. The trio of Brooks Koepka will start bright and early at 4:36 Eastern time. You get Scotty Scheffler coming up after that, followed by the defending champion Cam Smith and U.S. Open winner Wyndham Clark. Justin Thomas, Tony Finau, and Victor Hovland tee off at 9:48 Eastern. And the 2021 Open champ Colin Morikawa hits the course at 10:10 Eastern. To talk majors, of course, we can only bring in the one and only Michael Breed to help set the scene for us across the pond. And a lot of time has passed since 2014. You looked at the way that Rory McIlroy looked back there when he won the Open Championship, then went on to win the PGA Championship. Now that he's looking for major number 5, is he in the right spot to end that drought?
Boy, you have to think that coming off the win at the Scottish Open, we felt the exact same way as we headed into this Open Championship a year ago when it was played at the home of golf, right? So what is it? What do we think we're going to get from Rory? Well, here's what I think. I think Rory hit 2 of the best shots, this being one of them, that he's ever hit in his career. This little 2-iron that he flighted down from just outside of 200 yards to 10 feet and then makes the putt for the win. He's in a different place. He's in a different place physically. He's in a different place mentally. His golf swing is right where you want it, and the putting stroke is really cooperating. And I think he as he walked away from an interview, by the way, this morning, I look at Rory McIlroy, and I just think Rory McIlroy is a whole lot calmer. I think there was a period of time there, and certainly over the last decade, where we have seen Rory McIlroy kind of battling I got to win this major, I got to win this major, I got to win this career Grand Slam major. And it's really gotten to be a lot. And all of a sudden, some work that he's done with Bob Rotella, things have really quieted down for him in his mind. And I think you're looking at a different guy who's poised and ready for this Open Championship.
Yeah, so we thought that Rory would have had a chance last year at St. Andrews, finished 3rd, 2 shots off the lead from Cameron Smith, who won it all last year. Does he have a chance to repeat this year?
Well, he certainly has a chance. I mean, he just won on the LIV Tour a couple of weeks ago. And so you think, does this guy have a chance? Well, yeah, he's one of the best putters on the planet. In fact, I think he's the best putter in the field right now. I look at Cam and I go, okay, what's the weakness? And the weakness is the driver. He is not a great driver of the golf ball, has never been a great driver of the golf ball. And when you start to think about what this golf course demands with the wind that we're expecting, you got to get the ball in the fairway. And if you miss the fairway, and I'm not just talking about hitting into the rough, I'm talking about hitting it into these bunkers that are in the fairway. And in talking with Brad Faxon, who's covering the tournament for NBC, he said to me on my radio show this morning, if you hit it into a fairway bunker, you're not reaching the green. They have not had one individual in the practice rounds that they've had these first 2 days hit it into a fairway bunker and be able to reach the green. It's going to be at least a half a shot penalty, and that puts a lot of pressure on the driver. Now you can play away from the driver, and you can kind of play back from these bunkers, but at the same time, if you're going to do that, all of a sudden on a golf course that gives up a lot of birdies, you're making it really, really difficult. So I think this whole thing is going to fall for Cam this week, how he drives the ball, and he hasn't driven the ball very well in his career, and certainly this year on the LIV Tour, it's more the same.
When you're the defending champion like Smith, of course, you're going to get talked about leading up to the tournament. It feels like that potentially there's not as much talk about Jon Rahm happening right now. He has the most wins on the tour this season and, of course, won the Masters. Should the field be afraid of a well-rested Jon Rahm?
Well, I think you bring it up. He hasn't played golf in about 3 weeks, and that's because, in large part, he's got a lot of golf to play after the playoffs on the PGA Tour, and also, too, after the Ryder Cup. So when you start thinking about this guy, is he a guy you should be fearful of? And the answer is yeah. And because he's the most thorough, has the most thorough game on the PGA Tour. He's 21st in strokes gained putting. He's third in strokes gained tee to green, third in strokes gained approach. And of course, he's 16th in strokes gained off the tee. Now, has he played to the way he has played at the early part of the season? No, he won 4 times. But at the same time, he still finished tied 10th at the U.S. Open. He still had a tied 16th at Memorial, which is a golf course that plays like an open style, a U.S. Open style. He's a wonderful driver of the golf ball, has great iron play, and he's got the drive, and now he's rested. And so I don't look at, well, he hasn't played a lot recently. I look at, well, that's kind of a benefit for Jon Rahm. He got a little tired early, and he's saving himself, and I think he's saving himself for this moment, and I think he's ready for a great Open championship.
So Rahm trying to add another major championship to his tally mark. Who in the field, though, do you think is the best player that does not have a major championship to their name?
This is a wonderful question, and I went through a lot of numbers here on this and debated this between 3 players. And those 3 players are Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, and Viktor Hovland. And when you start to think about all this, and I got this all down, so I got to get over to my notes here. Xander Schauffele is the guy who I think is the best player to not have a major. Now, even though he's number 6 in the official World Golf rankings, if you look at what he has done over the last couple of years, he has a 13th, a 14th, a 15th, a 10th, a 10th, an 18th. I mean, he has continued to play really well despite the lone blemish is a missed cut at the Masters back in 2022. But he's got 16 top 10s. He hasn't missed a cut this year on the PGA Tour. And though he doesn't have a win, he's got 2 individual titles back in 2022. And I think about Xander, and I think the putting is really complete. I think it's certainly from an iron standpoint, he's as good as anybody in this field, and certainly as good as Viktor Hovland or Patrick Cantlay. And then you start thinking about his ability to drive the ball, which I think is going to be an important part this week, and it certainly is an important part of being a major champion. And so I look at that question. It's Xander Schauffele for me, and be careful with him this week, because I think he's got as good a chance as anybody to pick up that first major.
Yeah, Schauffele has started in 25 majors, still looking for that first victory. You were pretty good with your long shot to watch last week with the Scottish Open. So who's the long shot we should be watching this week?
Well, this guy is a guy who drives the ball as good as anybody on the PGA Tour, and his name is Brian Harman. It's not James Bond. His name is Brian Harman. And I'm telling you, this guy is a guy to watch out for. He's a fabulous putter. He's made that change to going lead hand low. He's a fabulous putter. He's incredibly consistent with his iron play. And he's one of the most accurate drivers on the PGA Tour. He's 14th on the PGA Tour in driving accuracy. And so when you start looking at what you think it's going to take to be successful here, you got to drive it well. You got to be able to flight the ball well. And he's not a high ball speed player, so he doesn't really have to battle, hitting that ball up there at 120 feet of apex. He's going to keep it right around 90, 80 feet, and he can drive it low. And so when I think about a dark horse here, and it is a dark horse. I think he's 90-1. I got to check my stats on this one. 90-1. He's 90-1. But I think he's a lot better than 90-1. Look out for Brian Harman.
Harman finished tied for 6th last year at the Open Championship. So your pick to win, are you leaning McIlroy?
Yup. That's exactly where I'm going. It's deja vu all over again. This time, he's going to walk away with the victory. As I said earlier, he's in a much better state of mind. And the other thing is, his last 6 events, he has played really well. Has the win, has a second. Everything else is the top 9. And it's because of the putter. He's putting a whole lot better. Look out for Rory McIlroy. He gets number 5 this week.
Michael Breed making the big prediction, tapping in with us as we get ready for the Open Championship. Just look out. Next time you see me, Michael, I might have one of your personalized shirts on.
That's what I want to see.
We'll see what we can do.
That's what I want to see.
Thank you so much for your time. Take a look at the odds to win the Open Championship, and it is Rory McIlroy with the shortest odds, sitting at plus 575, followed up by Scotty Scheffler at plus 650. A little bit further down, you see Jon Rahm at 12-1. That rounds up the top 3. Brooks Koepka already with the majors win this year. He sits at 18-1 odds, and Tyrrell Hatton there at the bottom of your screen, 25-1.